everyone, hope you all are good. Welcome to the English Academy. This video is all about the fifth chapter of the novel The Railway Children by Edith Nesbit. Video regarding the explanation of all the previous chapters is available on the YouTube channel, and now in this video we will be focusing on chapter number 5 that named as Prisoners and Captives. Student, up till now we know that it is the story about three children, Roberta, she is also called Bobby, Peter, and Phyllis. Actually, they were living a very lavish life, very comfortable one, with no worries and tensions. But suddenly, what happened? Their life turned upside down, and they had to leave their all the facilities, luxuries behind, and they are now shifted into a cottage, which is near to a railway station. And from there the story proceeds, and we will come to know that how these children are coping up with the new situation. Obviously they have now become, you can say, poor ones, so they are not having that much money to get themselves fed even sometimes, and to get the basic necessities. Once their mother was ill seriously and they had to ask for the help from a stranger, the old gentleman, which was, I guess, I have discussed in the previous chapters. But their mother was not very much happy with this act to ask for help from the strangers. But when children made her understand the situation, that they were having no other option, so eventually mother forgives them. Now, moving forward towards chapter 5, in the Railway Children, chapter 5 is titled as Prisoners and Captives. The children wait at the station for their mother on a rainy day and encounter a distressed, disheveled foreign man who speaks only Russian and French. Disheveled means messy, dirty. Bobby and their mother comfort him, and they learn he is a persecuted Russian exile looking for his family. He has been separated from his family and he is actually looking for them. Let me share with you some key events in chapter 5, in which number 1 is the rainy wait. Bobby, Peter, and Phyllis go to the station to meet their mother on a cold, wet July day. Then, the distressed stranger, they find a frightened, untidy man surrounded by a curious crowd who cannot understand his foreign language. The third key point is Bobby's empathy. Bobby uses her basic French and holds his hand to calm him down while others stare indifferently. The second last is Mother intervenes. Their mother arrives, speaks fluent French with the man, and discovers he is a Russian writer who was unjustly imprisoned. So this was the reason behind his this situation. And the last key point is compassion prevails. Mother brings the exhausted refugee home to feed and shelter him, teaching the children a deep lesson about empathy and political injustice. So I hope that the key points are clear to everybody along with the brief introduction of the chapter. Now we are moving forwards towards understanding it in detail. In chapter 5 of the Railway Children, the children eagerly await their mother's arrival at the station on a windy and rainy day. Despite the poor weather, they enjoy their time at the station playing games to pass the time, particularly games that involve mimicking advertisements. As they encounter familiar faces from the train, such as friendly driver and firemen, their excitement builds. However, their attention shifts when they notice a commotion by the platform, where a crowd has gathered around a mysterious figure speaking in an unfamiliar language. So they all were there at this railway station, and they encountered a man who was speaking an unfamiliar language, that was French. And the people or the crowd was gathered around him, and people were unable to understand what is he talking about, because that language was unfamiliar for everybody in the crowd. Curious and intrigued, the children push through the crowd and find a disheveled man who seems frightened and overwhelmed. Despite their attempts to understand him, including Peter's attempts at French, the man's foreign language eludes them. The children note the man's fearful reactions, prompting Bobby to take the initiative to connect with him through kindness. She speaks to him in simple French and holds his hand, which seems to provide him some comfort. The children's compassion stands in stark contrast to the indifferent scrutiny of the bystanders, including the station master. Actually, these children know a bit French, so they started to speak. And have a conversation with the man that why is he in such a situation and what he wants ahead. So everybody was looking at them with utter surprise, you can say, because the children were the only ones who can understand the stranger's language. After some tense moments, the children's mother arrives and speaks to the man in French, discovering that he is a Russian who has lost his ticket and is in poor health. This was the reason of his this situation or condition. She learns about his tragic past, having been imprisoned for speaking out in his writings, and how he came to seek his family in England. The children listen intently as their mother recounts the harsh realities of his life under a repressive regime, including his long imprisonment and subsequent hardships. Through their mother's story, they come to empathize deeply with the plight of prisoners and captives, promoting her to encourage them to include such individuals in their prayers. The chapter concludes on a hopeful note with the children wishing for the man to reunite with his family, reflecting their own sense of compassion and empathy. So, it was all from this chapter in which we came to know that there was a man who was unjustly imprisoned because he wrote something right about someone in his writing. He was actually a French writer who used to write articles, might be in newspapers or in magazines somewhere, but he was imprisoned due to this. And eventually he lost his tickets. He actually imprisoned for a very long period of time. Then he lost his tickets and somehow he reached to England and now wanted to get back to his family. These three children, along with their mother being very kind and compassionate, tried actually moved forward in order to help him out. And then they have a very, strong empathy towards the ones who are prisoners and captives. All the times, it is not necessary that a person is being imprisoned for the right things, but sometimes it happens that as you know that when you start writing something, or especially against bad or evil, against some wrongdoings, so you have to face a strong condemnation, you can say, or a strong backlash from the party against you are writing. So same happened with this man. He was a writer. He wrote something about some might possible about some political personalities or something like this. Anyway, he was imprisoned in this charge, you can say. And then when he was free, he lost his ticket and he eventually came to England, and particularly at this railway station near these children's house. So, this lesson or this chapter was all about empathy, was all about kindness, was all about feeling something for others in order to help them out when they are suffering, right? It is not possible that everybody who is, charged with some of the charges against him is always wrong. What we need to do is to investigate and inquire deeply regarding someone's charges or whatever he has been imposed by, and then going for making any decision against him or in favor of him, right? It is not necessary that all the times whatever you are listening from others, whatever rumors are going on, are true. So if you do not want to be a part of something wrong, so you should inquire and investigate everything by your own. I hope that the chapter is clear, and if you still have any question, you can ask me on comment section. Till the next video, take a very good care of yourself. Bye bye.